You have felt it, haven't you, my child? That deep, gnawing ache of perceived frailty, the chilling whisper of inadequacy that settles in the quiet corners of your heart. You have looked upon your own reflection, perhaps, and seen only the cracks, the vulnerabilities, the places where you felt you did not measure up. The world, in its relentless pursuit of strength and imperfection, may have amplified these feelings, its judgments echoing your own inner critic, making you believe that your weakness was a failing, a flaw, a reason for shame. You have carried this burden, this sense of being less than, of being fragile in a world that seems to demand unyielding resilience. But even as you have wrestled with this ache, even as the shadows of your perceived limitations have loomed large, I have been present. And I tell you now, beloved, in this very weakness you have so often despised, I am revealing a power you never knew you possessed. The ache of perceived frailty is a profound and often silent suffering. It is a weariness that comes from constantly trying to be strong when you feel depleted. The exhaustion of holding up a facade of competence when inside you feel like you are crumbling. It is the fear of exposure, the dread that others will see your vulnerabilities and judge you, reject you, or worse, pity you. You may have felt it as a physical limitation that held you back, an emotional sensitivity that seemed too much to bear, a mental fog that obscured your clarity, or a spiritual dryness that left you feeling disconnected and alone. These experiences of weakness, whatever their form, can create a deep sense of shame, a feeling of being inherently flawed, fundamentally lacking. They may have looked upon your struggles, your moments of faltering, your times of needing support, and drawn their own conclusions. Perhaps they saw only incompetence, a lack of discipline, or an unwillingness to try harder. Their words, or even their unspoken judgments, may have pierced your already tender heart, reinforcing the narrative that your weakness was something to be overcome, hidden, or eradicated. They may have offered advice that felt like condemnation, or solutions that failed to touch the depth of your inner experience, leaving you feeling even more misunderstood, more isolated in your perceived frailty and your own inner voice. My child, how fiercely it can echo these external judgments. It can be the harshest critic of all, replaying your perceived failures, highlighting your every stumble, whispering that you are not good enough, not strong enough, not worthy enough. This inner dialogue of self-condemnation can be relentless, creating a prison of shame from which escape seems impossible. You have perhaps striven to silence this voice, to push away the feelings of inadequacy, to project an image of strength you did not truly feel. But this striving only deepens the ache, for it is a denial of your authentic human experience, a resistance to the very place where my grace often seeks to enter most profoundly. I have seen your silent tears, shed not only for the outward challenges you face, but for the inner pain of feeling so utterly, hopelessly frail. I have witnessed your longing to be different, to be stronger, to be like those who seem to navigate life with such effortless resilience. I have felt the weight of your discouragement when, despite your best efforts, your perceived weaknesses seem to persist, to define you, to limit your possibilities. This ache is real, my beloved. It is a sacred sorrow, and I hold it with you in my compassionate heart. I do not dismiss your pain, nor do I minimize your struggle. But even as I acknowledge the depth of your suffering in this perceived frailty, I invite you to consider a different perspective, a divine truth that often lies hidden beneath the surface of human understanding. For what if this weakness, this very place of your deepest vulnerability, is not a sign of my absence, but a profound invitation to my presence? What if the cracks you see are not merely flaws, but openings through which my light can enter and illuminate a strength you never knew existed within you? What if your perceived frailty, so long a source of shame and fear, is actually the fertile ground for the blossoming of a power that transcends all earthly measures of strength? This is the mystery I am beginning to unveil within you. My child, the world teaches you to despise weakness, to hide it, to overcome it through sheer force of will. But I often work in ways that confound worldly wisdom. In the economy of my kingdom, strength is often perfected in weakness. Power is often revealed not in self-sufficiency, but in a surrendered dependence upon me. The very places where you feel most lacking are often the precise points where my grace can flow most abundantly, where my power can be demonstrated most clearly, not to your glory alone, but to mine and for the encouragement of many. The ache of perceived frailty has, perhaps, brought you to a place of profound humility, a stripping away of egoic pride and self-reliance. And while this process can be painful, it is also incredibly sacred, for it is in this humility, this emptying of self, that you become most receptive to the true source of all strength, all power, all life, which is my spirit dwelling within you. The power I am revealing is not your own, manufactured through effort, but mine, released through your willingness to acknowledge your need, your vulnerability, your dependence on a love and a strength greater than your own. So, let us begin this journey together, my beloved, of exploring the divine paradox that lies at the heart of your experience. Let us gently peel back the layers of shame and fear that have surrounded your perceived weakness and begin to discover the incredible, hidden potential that lies within it. For I tell you, with a love that knows no bounds, the ache you have felt is real, but it is not the final word. In your weakness, I am not just offering comfort. I am revealing a power, a resilience, a beauty that you never knew you possessed, a power that will transform not only your own life, but also the lives of those you touch. The revelation has begun. This ache has been a long companion, hasn't it? A shadow that followed your steps, whispering doubts even in moments of apparent success. It has made you cautious, perhaps, hesitant to fully embrace life for fear of your own fragility being exposed. You may have built walls around your heart, intricate defenses designed to protect the tender, vulnerable core you perceived as weak. But these walls, while offering a semblance of safety, also kept out the very love and light that longed to enter and heal. The world's definition of strength often involves an invulnerability, an unyielding hardness, a stoic denial of pain or need. But this is not my definition. My child, true strength, the strength I am revealing in you, is often found in the courage to be vulnerable, the resilience to feel deeply and yet not be consumed, the humility to ask for help, the wisdom to know that interdependence is a divine principle. Your perceived frailty, when embraced with honesty and surrender to me, becomes the very crucible in which these authentic strengths are forged. Do not look upon your past experiences of weakness with condemnation. See them instead as part of the sacred curriculum of your soul, lessons that were preparing you for this very moment of revelation. Each time you felt you could not go on, yet somehow found the grace to take one more breath, one more step, my power was being subtly revealed, even if you attributed it to your own meager resources. Every tear of acknowledged pain, every prayer whispered from a place of utter helplessness was an opening for my strength to begin its transformative work within you. The ache is the soul's cry for its true source of power. It is a longing of the finite for the infinite, the yearning of the apparently broken for the wholeness that is its divine birthright. And I, your loving God, hear that cry. I honor that longing. And my response is not to chide you for your weakness, but to meet you in it, to embrace it, and to use it as the very portal through which a power beyond your wildest imaginings can begin to flow. This ache is not a sign of your failure, but a signal of your readiness for a deeper encounter with me and with the incredible strength that is my gift to you. My precious child, you have indeed felt the sharp ache of your perceived frailty, the weight of judgments, both from the world and from within, that have sought to define you by your apparent limitations. You have looked into the mirror of your experience and perhaps seen only the cracks, the fissures, the places where your strength seemed to fail you. But I invite you now to step behind my eyes, to feel the tender focus of my gaze as it rests upon you. For my sight pierces far beyond the surface of your brokenness, beyond the veil of your perceived weakness, where you see deficit. I see a sacred opening, where you perceive only an ending. I behold the stirring of a power you have yet to comprehend. My gaze is not like the critical eye of the world, which measures worth by outward performance, by unyielding strength, by flawless perfection. The world often recoils from vulnerability, dismisses frailty, and equates weakness with failure. Your own inner critic, schooled in these harsh worldly standards, may echo these judgments, whispering insidious lies that you are not enough, that your broken pieces are beyond repair. But my evaluation, my beloved, springs from an entirely different source, from the boundless ocean of my unconditional love, from the eternal truth of your divine essence, from my unwavering vision of the magnificent being I created you to be. When I look upon you in your moments of acknowledged weakness, I do not see shame. I see courage, the courage to be human, the courage to feel, the courage to endure even when your own resources seem utterly depleted. When I observe your vulnerabilities, I do not see flaws to be condemned. I see the very places where my grace can enter most profoundly, where my strength can be made most gloriously perfect. The cracks you despise, the areas where you feel most broken, are often the precise points through which my light can shine with the most captivating beauty. Like sunlight illuminating the intricate patterns within a fractured crystal. Imagine a master craftsman examining a piece of wood that is gnarled, weathered, and seemingly imperfect. The unskilled eye might see only its flaws, its deviations from a perceived ideal. But the craftsman, with a vision born of love and experience, sees the unique character, the hidden beauty, the potential for a masterpiece that these very imperfections will only enhance. So it is with me and you. My child, your struggles, your vulnerabilities, the very aspects of your being that you have labeled as weakness, are, in my sight, part of the unique material with which I am crafting a life of extraordinary depth, resilience, and beauty. They are not impediments to my work. They are integral to it. Where you see emptiness, a hollow ache of inadequacy, I see a sacred space being cleared, an inner chamber being prepared to receive a new and more profound infilling of my spirit. True strength, the power I am revealing in you, is often born not from an abundance of self-sufficiency, but from a recognition of deep need, an opening of the heart to a source beyond itself. Your acknowledged weakness creates this holy emptiness, this divine receptivity, making you a vessel ready to be filled with a power you never knew, a power that is not your own, but mine, flowing through you. The world may have taught you to build high walls around your vulnerabilities, to present a facade of unshakable strength. But my gaze penetrates those walls, not to expose or to shame, but to reach the tender, authentic core of your being that lies hidden beneath. I see the longing behind your defenses, the weariness beneath your striving, the beautiful, fragile heart that yearns for love, for acceptance, for true, unassailable strength, and is to this authentic self, in all its vulnerability, that my love and my power are drawn. Do not believe the illusion that your weakness somehow diminishes my love for you or makes you less precious in my sight. My love is not contingent upon your strength, your perfection, or your performance. It is eternal, unconditional, and unwavering. It was my love that conceived you, my love that sustains you, and my love that will ultimately perfect you. Your weakness does not repel my love. Rather, it often serves to draw it closer, to create an intimacy, a reliance, a tender dependence that allows my love to work its most profound miracles in your life. While they may have focused on what was broken, on what was lacking, my gaze has always been upon the indestructible diamond of your true spirit, the divine spark within you that can never be extinguished by any trial, any weakness, any darkness. I see your inherent worth, your eternal significance, your boundless potential, even when you yourself have lost sight of it. My vision for you is not limited by your past failures or your present struggles. It is anchored in the glorious destiny I have ordained for you, a destiny of wholeness, of purpose, of radiant, divinely empowered life. This is the crucial difference. My beloved, the world judges by the outward appearance. I see the heart. The world focuses on the limitation. I focus on the potential. The world declares an ending based on perceived frailty. I see that frailty as the very crucible in which an unknown, unexpected, and utterly transformative power is being forged and revealed. My evaluation is not a condemnation of your weakness, but a celebration of the incredible opportunity it presents for my strength to be made manifest, for your true, resilient self to emerge, more beautiful and more powerful than you ever dreamed possible. Trust my gaze, my child. It is a gaze of infinite love, of perfect understanding, and of unwavering belief in the masterpiece you are becoming. The very places where you feel the sharpest edges of your brokenness are often where my light seeks to enter with the greatest intensity. Think of how light refracts through a prism, creating a spectrum of colors. Your vulnerabilities, your past wounds, the areas where life has chipped away at your sense of wholeness. These can become the very facets that allow my light to refract through you in a unique and beautiful way, creating a rainbow of compassion, wisdom, and strength that would not be possible without those prior fractures. My gaze sees not just the cracks, but the potential for this exquisite display of light when you feel overwhelmed by your inadequacies. Remember that my gaze is not measuring you against some impossible standard of human perfection. I see the effort you have made, the courage you have shown, the silent battles you have fought. I see the longing in your heart to be more, to do more, to love more. And that longing itself, my child, is precious to me. It is a sign of the divine discontent that drives a soul towards its true home in me. My gaze does not tally your failures. It seeks out the faintest flicker of your faith, the smallest ember of your hope, and breathes upon it with my life-giving spirit. The power I am revealing in you is not contingent upon your eliminating all weakness. It is a power that often coexists with your humanity, with your vulnerabilities. It is a power of my grace flowing through an earthen vessel, a treasure held in a jar of clay, so that the excellency of the power may be of me and not of you. My gaze is not looking for an unbreakable, self-sufficient vessel, but for a willing one, an open one, a heart that acknowledges its need and is therefore ready to receive the fullness of my strength. Do not be discouraged when the world, or your own inner critic, points to your frailties. Instead, try to remember my perspective. See those areas not as liabilities, but as sacred spaces where divine exchange is taking place. Your acknowledged weakness for my infinite strength, your emptiness for my fullness, your brokenness for my wholeness. My gaze holds this vision for you constantly, even when yours is clouded by doubt or despair. I see you not as you are in your temporary struggle, but as you are in your eternal truth, whole, beloved, and radiantly capable through me. This loving, empowering gaze is my constant gift to you. My precious child, having felt the unwavering tenderness of my gaze that looks far beyond your surface brokenness, seeing not your perceived deficits, but your inherent divine potential. Let us now explore a profound and sacred truth about those very states of weakness you have so often feared or despised. For I tell you, beloved, what the world deems as mere frailty, what your own heart may have condemned as inadequacy, is often, in the mysterious and beautiful economy of my kingdom, the most hallowed ground for the outpouring of my grace. It is the very soil, tilled by humility and watered by surrender, where a power you never knew, a power rooted not in human striving, but in divine endowment, is cultivated and revealed. The world teaches you to build fortresses of self-reliance, to project an image of unshakable strength, to hide your vulnerabilities lest they be exploited or judged. It equates weakness with powerlessness, need with shame. But my ways are not the world's ways. In my divine paradox, it is often when you come to the end of your own resources, when you acknowledge your profound need, when the illusion of your self-sufficiency crumbles, that the door swings wide open for my true power to enter and work its most transformative miracles within you and through you. Your perceived weakness, when offered to me, becomes a sacred invitation. Think of a vessel My child, if it is already filled to the brim with its own contents, with pride, with self-reliance, with the cluttered agendas of the ego, there's little room for me to pour in the living waters of my spirit, the potent wine of my grace. But when that vessel is empty, when it acknowledges its own beautiful, inherent emptiness and its need to be filled from a source beyond itself, then it becomes perfectly receptive. Your moments of acknowledged weakness, your honest recognition of your need for me, are precisely that, an emptying of self that creates a sacred space for my fullness to reside. This is not a diminishing of you, but a preparation for a far greater capacity, a far more authentic strength. This hallowed ground of weakness is where the seeds of true spiritual power are sown. The power I speak of is not the brute force of the world, not the dominance of ego, not the fleeting strength of physical prowess or intellectual acuity alone. It is a deeper, more enduring power, the power of resilience forged in humility, the power of compassion born from shared human frailty, the power of unwavering faith that shines brightest in the darkest night, the power of love that can heal and transform all things. These are the powers cultivated not in the high citadels of self-sufficiency, but in the fertile valleys of acknowledged need. When you stand before me in your weakness, stripped of your defenses, your heart open and vulnerable, you are in the most potent posture for receiving my grace. It is here, in this place of utter honesty and surrender, that my spirit can commune most intimately with yours. The walls of pride and self-effort that often obstruct my flow are, in these moments, dismantled. And through these openings, my grace pours in, not as a reward for your strength, but as a loving response to your acknowledged need, bringing with it healing, wisdom, and a strength that is not your own, but mine, made perfect in you. Consider the earth in winter, seemingly barren, cold, and lifeless. It appears weak, defeated by the harshness of the season. Yet, beneath that surface, a sacred work is underway. The ground is resting, receiving the hidden nutrients, preparing for the vibrant explosion of life that will come with the spring. Your seasons of weakness are often like this spiritual winter. They are not an end, but a vital period of rest, of receptivity, of deep, unseen preparation for the blossoming of a new and unexpected strength. It is on this hallowed, seemingly barren ground that my grace works its quiet miracles, nurturing the seeds of a power you never knew you possessed. This does not mean I delight in your suffering or desire your perpetual frailty. My ultimate desire is for your wholeness, your joy, your radiant expression of the fullness of life I have given you. But I know, with my infinite wisdom, that the path to that true wholeness often leads through the valley of acknowledged weakness. It is in this valley that illusions are shattered, that false selves are shed, that the soul learns its deepest reliance on me. And it is from this valley, watered by tears of surrender and illuminated by the first rays of nascent faith, that the ascent to true, divinely empowered strength begins. The power that emerges from this hallowed ground is often a quiet power, a gentle strength. It does not need to announce itself with trumpets or displays of force. It is the unwavering resilience of a heart that has known brokenness and has been mended by my love. It is the profound empathy of a soul that has traversed its own darkness and can now sit with others in theirs without judgment. It is the quiet confidence of one who no longer relies on their own limited resources, but draws from the infinite wellspring of my spirit. This is a power that heals, a power that connects, a power that endures. The world may not always recognize this kind of power, for it is not often loud or self-aggrandizing, but it is a power that changes lives, that transforms hearts, that brings my kingdom a little closer to earth, and is a power that is uniquely cultivated in the sacred, fertile soil of your acknowledged weakness, when that weakness is offered to me as a holy space for my grace to work its wonders. Therefore, my beloved, I invite you to reframe your perception of your own frailties. See them not as enemies to be vanquished, or as shames to be hidden, but as potential gateways to a deeper experience of my love, my grace, and my empowering presence when you feel weak. Do not despair. Instead, open your heart wider, whisper my name, acknowledge your need, and know that in that very moment of surrender, you are standing on hallowed ground, perfectly positioned to receive the revelation of a power you never knew, a power that will carry you, sustain you, and enable you to become the magnificent, resilient, and beautifully strong child of God I have always destined you to be. This weakness is not your defeat. It is the doorway to your divine empowerment. This hallowed ground of weakness also teaches you the profound truth of interdependence. When your own strength feels insufficient, you are more inclined to reach out, to connect you, to receive support both from me and from others whom I may send as instruments of my grace. The illusion of rugged individualism, so prized by the world, dissolves in the face of genuine need, and the more beautiful, divine reality of our interconnectedness is revealed. This capacity for connection, for mutual support, for humble reception of help, is itself a profound spiritual strength, cultivated on the very ground of acknowledged personal limitation. Furthermore, it is in the recognition of your human frailty that your compassion for the frailties of others truly blossoms. When you have walked through your own valleys of inadequacy, you are far less likely to judge or condemn those who are stumbling in theirs. Your heart softens, your empathy deepens, and you become a safer, more healing presence in the world. This compassionate strength, born from the shared experience of human weakness, is a power that can mend broken hearts and bridge divides in ways that assertive, self-assured strength often cannot. The power I am revealing in you is not about becoming superhuman, but about becoming fully, authentically human, yet infused with my divine spirit. It is about embracing your vulnerabilities not as liabilities, but as part of your sacred humanity. The very humanity I chose to inhabit to show you the way. It is in this acceptance of your whole self, weaknesses and strengths intertwined, that my grace finds its most fertile field. So, let this hallowed ground of your perceived weakness no longer be a place of fear or shame, but a sanctuary of encounter with me. Bring your emptiness, and I will fill it. Bring your brokenness, and I will mend it with threads of gold. Bring your frailty, and I will infuse it with a strength that will surprise you, a power that will sustain you, a grace that will make your life a testament to the beautiful paradox that in your weakness, my power is indeed made perfect, revealing the glory you never knew. My beloved child, having come to understand that your very weakness can be the most hallowed ground for the outpouring of my grace, I now want to draw your awareness to the profound, often unseen, alchemy that I perform within that sacred space. For when you offer me your acknowledged frailty, your honest vulnerability, your surrendered need, my spirit begins a transformative work so deep, so subtle, yet so powerful that it can only be described as a divine alchemy. This is the process through which I am even now revealing the power you never knew, transmuting the lead of your perceived limitations into the pure gold of your authentic, divinely empowered strength. This unseen alchemy is not a harsh or forceful process, but one of infinite tenderness and meticulous care. Imagine a divine alchemist working in the quiet laboratory of your soul, taking the very elements that have caused you pain, your fears, your sorrows, your insecurities, your sense of inadequacy, and, with boundless love and unerring wisdom, beginning to transform their very essence. This is my work within you, my child. When you allow your weakness to become my workshop, consider your vulnerability, that tender place you have so often sought to protect, to hide, for fear of being wounded further. When you surrender this vulnerability to me, when you cease to fight it or despise it, it becomes, in my hands, the raw material for an unshakable resilience. For true resilience is not the absence of feeling, nor is it an unyielding hardness. It is the capacity to feel deeply, to bend without breaking, to absorb the shocks of life and yet retain your core integrity, your capacity for love. This resilience is forged in the fires of acknowledged vulnerability, as my grace meets you there, infusing you with a strength that is not brittle, but supple, enduring, and profoundly compassionate. Each time you allow yourself to be vulnerable in my presence and experience my unwavering love and support, a new layer of this divine resilience is formed within you. And what of the emptiness you have sometimes felt, that hollow ache of inadequacy, that sense of lacking the resources to meet life's demands? When this emptiness is offered to me, it is transformed into a profound receptivity for my power. A full cup cannot receive more. A soul that believes itself to be self-sufficient has little room for my spirit to enter and work its wonders. But your acknowledged emptiness, your honest admission of your need for me, creates a sacred void, a spaciousness within your being that becomes exquisitely attuned to my presence, my guidance, my inflowing strength. This receptivity is not a passive weakness. It is an active, courageous opening, a willingness to be filled, to be guided, to be empowered from a source beyond your own limited self. In this hallowed emptiness, my power finds its most welcome abode and its most fertile ground. Your fears, my child, those chilling phantoms that have haunted your nights and shadowed your days, even these become fodder for my divine alchemy. When you bring your fears into my light, when you cease to run from them or be paralyzed by them, but instead offer them to me with a trembling but willing heart, I begin to transmute them into faith. This is not a blind faith, but a faith that has been tested, a faith that has looked into the face of fear and has chosen, with my help, to trust in a love that is greater, a power that is stronger. Each fear surrendered, each anxiety offered, becomes an opportunity for my peace to take deeper root, for your reliance on me to become more unshakable. until your faith itself becomes a luminous shield, a quiet, confident power that can face any unknown, even your past pain, the sorrows that have etched their lines upon your heart, the wounds that still ache with memory. These too are part of the alchemical process. I do not waste a single tear, my beloved, when you allow me to touch these painful places with my healing love. I begin to extract from them the precious essences of compassion and wisdom. Your own suffering, when redeemed by my grace, becomes a bridge of understanding to the suffering of others. Your empathy deepens. Your capacity to offer true solace expands. And the lessons learned in your own crucible of pain are distilled into a profound wisdom, a knowing of the heart that transcends mere intellectual understanding. This compassion, this wisdom, these are potent forms of the power I am revealing in you, powers that can bring healing and light to a hurting world. And what of your sense of brokenness? Those areas where you feel shattered, fragmented, beyond repair, my child. Yes, I am the divine potter. And my specialty is working with broken pieces in my hands. Your fragments are not signs of your worthlessness, but opportunities for a new and even more beautiful creation. I gather these pieces with infinite tenderness, and with my eternal ink of love and my life-giving spirit, I begin to mend them, to reassemble them, not necessarily into what they were before, but into something new, something uniquely beautiful, something that bears the luminous artistry of my healing touch. The very cracks you once despised can become, like the Japanese art of kintsugi, lines of gold, testaments to your journey, symbols of a strength and beauty made more profound by the very experience of having been broken and then divinely restored. This is the alchemy that transforms brokenness into a unique and radiant beauty. This unseen alchemy within you is often a quiet, gradual process. Do not be discouraged if you do not see dramatic, instantaneous results, like a seed growing secretly in the earth or a pearl forming slowly within its oyster. This transformation unfolds at its own sacred pace. In the hidden depths of your being, your part is to remain open, receptive, trusting, to continue to offer your weaknesses to me, to cooperate with the gentle nudges of my spirit. Trust that I am always at work. My beloved, even when you cannot perceive my hand, my love for you is a constant fire beneath the alchemical vessel of your soul. My wisdom, the guiding intelligence. My power, the transformative agent. I am not destroying who you are. I am revealing who you have always been in my heart, and who you are destined to become. A radiant being, strong in spirit, wise in heart, compassionate in action, filled with a power you never knew you possessed, a power that is my gift to you, perfected in your beautiful, surrendered weakness. This alchemy is my sacred promise to you, unfolding now within the very core of your being, my precious child. As the unseen alchemy of my grace continues its sacred work within the hallowed ground of your acknowledged weakness, a new and wondrous phenomenon begins to occur. From the very soil you once deemed barren, from the places of perceived frailty where you expected only further collapse, the first tender, yet tenacious stirrings of an unknown strength begin to emerge. These are not the loud assertions of egoic power, nor the brittle facade of forced resilience, but the authentic, spirit-born manifestations of that power you never knew you possessed. A power I am now gently, lovingly, revealing from within your very being. These first stirrings are often subtle. My beloved, easily overlooked if you are still expecting strength to arrive in a flamboyant or overwhelming manner. They are like the first, almost imperceptible, unfurling of a fern in the deep forest, or the quiet, determined push of a seedling breaking through the dark earth after a long winter. You must cultivate an attentive heart, a discerning spirit, to recognize these nascent signs of my empowering presence, transforming your weakness into a new and unexpected might. Perhaps you notice it first as a moment of unexpected resilience. A situation arises, a familiar trigger that in the past would have sent you spiraling into despair, or anxiety, or helpless anger. But this time, something is different. While the old discomfort may still flicker, you find within yourself a quiet capacity to remain centered, to breathe through the intensity, to observe the rising emotion without being utterly consumed by it. Maybe you recover more quickly. The shadows pass with less tenacity, or you find yourself able to access a sliver of peace amidst the turmoil. This, my child, is not mere chance. This is a stirring of that unknown strength, my grace infusing your vulnerability with an enduring, quiet power, or it may manifest as an act of quiet courage that surprises even yourself. A step you have longed to take, but were previously paralyzed by fear. Perhaps speaking your truth in a difficult situation, setting a gentle boundary, or reaching out for a dream that seemed too audacious. You suddenly find yourself taking that step, not with a burst of aggressive force, but with a calm, inner resolve you didn't know you had. This courage is not the absence of fear, but the presence of my love moving through you, empowering you to act in alignment with your deepest values despite the trembling of your human heart. This is my strength being made perfect in your acknowledged fear. Notice too, my child, the emergence of a newfound capacity for empathy or patience, often in contexts where you previously felt only irritation, judgment, or depletion, where before you might have reacted with frustration to the shortcomings of others, or to the slow unfolding of events. You now find a softer response, arising from within. A deeper understanding, a more generous spirit, a surprising well of patience. This is the fruit of the alchemy that has been working within your own heart, having embraced your own frailty, having experienced my unconditional love in your own weakness. You are now able to extend that same grace-filled perspective to the world around you. This compassionate strength, this patient power, is a beautiful hue of the resilience I am painting within you. These stirrings of unknown strength also appear as subtle but significant inner shifts. You might experience moments of unbidden peace that settle upon you in the midst of a busy or stressful day, a quiet sense of all is well that transcends logical explanation. Perhaps you discover a greater ability to self-soothe when anxieties arise, a newfound capacity to access your own inner sanctuary of calm through prayer or quiet reflection. Or you may simply feel a subtle sense of inner solidity, a feeling of being more grounded, more present in your own skin, where before there was only the shifting sands of insecurity. These are the roots of your new strength taking hold, anchoring you more deeply in me. Sometimes, this emerging power reveals itself in surprising new capabilities. A task that once seemed overwhelming may now feel manageable. A concept that was once confusing may suddenly become clear. You might find yourself handling a difficult conversation with unexpected wisdom, or offering comfort to another with words that seem to flow from a source beyond your own intellect. These are not merely your own latent talents suddenly appearing. These are expressions of my spirit working through your yieldedness, your openness, your willingness to allow my strength to become your own. The power you never knew is often the power of my divine intelligence, my creative solutions, my healing love, flowing through your human instrumentality. Do not dismiss these first stirrings because they are not yet a mighty roar. My beloved, the dawn begins with the faintest light. The most powerful river starts as a tiny trickle. These initial manifestations are precious and profoundly significant. They are the evidence that the divine alchemy is real, that my promise to reveal power in your weakness is true, that the seed of your unknown strength, planted by my hand, is indeed alive and growing. Cherish these moments. Acknowledge them with gratitude. When you notice that unexpected resilience, that quiet courage, that newfound empathy, pause and give thanks. Say, "This is you, Lord, at work in me. This is the power I did not know." By acknowledging these stirrings, you water them. You give them space to expand. You cooperate more fully with my transformative work. It is crucial to understand that this emerging strength is often found not by eradicating your weakness, but by embracing it and allowing my power to manifest through it. The world teaches you to fight your frailties, to overcome them by force. I teach you to offer them to me, to allow them to become the very channels through which my strength can flow most purely. The power I am revealing is not about becoming invulnerable, but about discovering an invincible strength that resides within and is magnified by your authentic, vulnerable humanity. These first stirrings are my loving reassurance to you that you are not defined by your past limitations. You are not destined to remain forever in the shadows of your perceived inadequacies. A new reality is dawning within you, a reality where your very weakness becomes a stage for the revelation of a divine power that can move mountains, heal hearts, and transform lives, beginning with your own. Welcome these stirrings. My child, they are the heralds of your true, empowered self, awakening now from its long slumber. My precious child, as you begin to recognize these first, tender stirrings of an unknown strength emerging from the very heart of your perceived frailty, as you witness the initial fruits of my unseen alchemy within your soul, I now invite you to a deeper level of co-creation. It is an invitation to consciously embrace the sacred paradox that lies at the core of this transformative journey, the truth that my strength is often made most perfect, most gloriously manifest in your acknowledged weakness. This embrace is not a passive resignation to your limitations, but an active, courageous turning towards me, a willingness to stop fighting or despising your human vulnerabilities, and instead allow them to become the very conduits through which my divine power and your own true, resilient strength can flow with astonishing grace. For so long, my beloved, you have been conditioned by the world, and perhaps by your own inner critic, to view weakness as an enemy to be conquered, a shame to be hidden, a deficit to be overcome by sheer force of will. You have striven, you have struggled, you have perhaps exhausted yourself in the effort to project an image of unshakable strength. only to feel the persistent ache of inadequacy when your human limitations inevitably surface. But I am showing you a different way, a path of divine artistry where your yielded weakness becomes the very space for my omnipotence to display its tender and transformative power. Embracing this principle requires a profound shift in perspective. It means looking upon your moments of need, your times of vulnerability, your areas of perceived lack, not with judgment or fear, but with a new sense of sacred potential. It means understanding that these are not signs of my displeasure or your failure, but rather openings, holy invitations for you to experience my strength in ways you never could if you relied solely on your own finite resources when you feel weak, instead of immediately trying to fix it or fight it in your own power. I invite you to pause, to breathe, and to whisper, "Here, my God, is an opportunity for your strength to be revealed in me. Here is space for your power to flow." This embrace involves a conscious act of surrender, not a surrender to defeat, but a surrender of your own limited strategies, your own egoic striving, into my infinitely capable hands. Imagine a sailor who, instead of battling fiercely against a mighty wind with oars alone, learns to hoist the sails, to yield to the wind's direction, and to allow its immense power to carry the vessel forward with grace and speed. Your acknowledged weakness, when offered to me in surrender, becomes like that hoisted sail, perfectly positioned to catch the powerful, loving wind of my spirit. This surrender is not weakness. It is profound wisdom, an active alignment with a force far greater than your own. Learn to stop despising the parts of yourself that feel fragile or inadequate. These are often the most tender, most human aspects of your being, the very places where your capacity for compassion, both for yourself and for others, is born when you meet these parts with my love instead of your own judgment. They cease to be sources of shame and instead become points of connection, gateways to a deeper authenticity, allowing yourself to be fully human. In all your vulnerability is a courageous act, and it is in that authenticity that my spirit can most fully reside and express itself through you. This embracing of strength, perfected in weakness, also calls for a new kind of attentiveness. As you yield your frailties to me, watch with a curious and grateful heart for the ways my strength begins to manifest. It may not always be in dramatic, outwardly visible displays. Often, it is in the subtle shifts in newfound patience in a trying situation, an unexpected surge of courage to face a difficult truth, a quiet word of wisdom that flows through you, a capacity to love more generously than you thought possible. When these moments occur, recognize them as the fruit of our divine partnership. Acknowledge, this is not just me. This is God's strength flowing through my yieldedness. This conscious recognition and gratitude create an even wider channel for my power to continue its work. Consider a trellis in a garden, my child. In itself, it may seem a simple, even somewhat bare structure, but when a vine, with its tender shoots and questing tendrils, is allowed to embrace that trellis, to lean upon it, to intertwine with it, something beautiful happens. The trellis provides the support, the structure, the unwavering strength, allowing the vine to reach towards the sun, to unfurl its leaves, to bear its abundant fruit. Your acknowledged weakness, when you allow it to lean into my strength, becomes like that vine embracing the trellis. You are not diminished. You are supported, enabled, empowered to grow and to flourish in ways you never could on your own. This path is counterintuitive to the world's logic, which champions self-made strength and relentless independence. It requires a deep trust, a willingness to believe that your greatest power lies not in your own capacities, but in your connection to me, your divine source. It is about shifting your reliance from the finite to the infinite, from the seen to the unseen, from the struggling ego to the indwelling Christ, the presence of my spirit within you. This does not mean you become passive or abdicate responsibility for your life. On the contrary, embracing this divine paradox requires a profound inner activity, the activity of conscious surrender, of mindful receptivity, of courageous trust, of active cooperation with the movements of my grace. It is a choice to open your hands when your instinct is to clench them, to soften your heart when your reflex is to harden it, to look towards me when your habit is to look only at your own limitations. As you practice this sacred art of embracing strength perfected in weakness, you will discover a new kind of freedom. Freedom from the exhausting burden of trying to be constantly strong in your own power. Freedom from the fear of failure. Freedom from the shame of your own humanity. You will begin to experience a strength that is not tense or brittle, but resilient, adaptable, and filled with quiet, unshakable peace. This is the power you never knew you possessed, because it is a power that is revealed, not achieved, received, not manufactured, divine, not merely human. So, my beloved, I invite you into this deeper walk. When the ache of perceived frailty arises, meet it not as an enemy, but as a sacred invitation. Offer that very weakness to me as the hallowed ground upon which my strength can be most beautifully and powerfully displayed. Stop fighting, stop despising, and begin to embrace this divine exchange. For in your weakness, surrendered and offered, my power finds its perfect expression, and you discover the astonishing, liberating truth that your true strength was never in your own capacity, but in your willingness to be a vessel for mine, my precious child. As you courageously embrace the sacred paradox of your weakness becoming the hallowed ground for my strength, as you learn to surrender your perceived frailties into my loving hands, you begin to experience the tangible emergence of that power you never knew you possessed. Now, my beloved, I invite you to understand the nature of this newly revealed power and to learn how it is to be wielded, or rather, how it is to flow through you, not as a force of egoic dominance, but as a gentle yet potent expression of my spirit, a power characterized by spiritual authority, compassionate influence, authentic resilience, and purposeful action rooted in humble strength. This power I am revealing in you is unlike any power the world can offer or comprehend. The world often equates power with control, with force, with the ability to impose one's will upon others or upon circumstances. It is a power that seeks to elevate the self, to accumulate, to dominate. But the power born of my spirit, the power that blossoms in the soil of your yielded weakness, is of an entirely different quality. It is a power that serves, that heals, that connects, that liberates. It is the quiet, unshakable strength of a mountain, the life-giving flow of a river, the gentle yet transformative warmth of the sun. One of the first ways you will experience this new power is as an inner spiritual authority. This is not arrogance, my child, nor is it the assertion of dogma. It is a quiet, deep-seated knowing of truth that emanates from your direct connection with me. Having walked through the valley of your own uncertainties and emerged into my light, you carry within you an authentic wisdom, a discernment that is not easily swayed by the shifting opinions of the world or the fearful pronouncements of others. This spiritual authority allows you to speak your truth with a quiet confidence, to stand firm in your convictions, which are now my convictions, planted within you with grace, and to offer guidance to others not from a place of superiority, but from a wellspring of genuine inner knowing. It is the authority of a soul that has wrestled with darkness and has found its anchor in eternal light. This newly revealed power also manifests as compassionate influence, because you have known the ache of your own frailty, because you have experienced my unconditional love in your deepest vulnerability. Your heart is now exquisitely attuned to the suffering and the potential of others. You no longer approach them from a place of judgment or a desire to fix them, but with a profound empathy that creates a safe space for their own healing and growth. Your words, your presence, your very being begin to carry a healing balm. You influence others not by force of argument or personality, but by the gentle radiation of my love flowing through you. This compassionate influence is a power that can melt hearts, bridge divides, and inspire transformation in ways that coercion never could. It is the power of a soul that has learned to love as I love. You will also discover within you an authentic resilience that is far more profound than any mere stoicism or forced endurance. The resilience forged in the crucible of your weakness, and now infused with my strength, is not a brittle hardness that shatters under pressure. It is a flexible, adaptable strength, like that of a deeply rooted tree that can bend in the fiercest storm yet remain standing, its branches reaching even higher towards the heavens. This resilience allows you to meet life's inevitable challenges, not with fear or despair, but with a quiet courage, a resourceful spirit, and an unwavering faith in my ability to bring good from every situation. You learn to bounce back from setbacks more quickly, not by denying the pain, but by allowing my grace to transform it into wisdom and renewed determination. This is the power of a spirit that knows it is eternally held, eternally sustained. And this revealed power, my beloved, will inevitably lead to purposeful action. But this is not the driven, anxious activity of an ego seeking validation or trying to prove its worth. It is action that flows naturally, almost effortlessly, from a place of inner alignment with my will, from a clear sense of your unique calling. Your doing becomes an extension of your being. You are moved by love, guided by wisdom, and empowered by my spirit to contribute your unique gifts to the world in ways that are both fulfilling to you and a blessing to others. This purposeful action is not about grand, heroic deeds, though it may sometimes involve them, but about the consistent, loving expression of your true self in your daily life, in your relationships, in your work. It is the power of a life lived in sacred service, flowing from a wellspring of humble strength. Wielding this power, my child, is less about doing in a worldly sense and more about being a clear and open channel for my spirit. It is about listening deeply for my guidance, trusting the intuitive nudges, and then responding with simple, courageous obedience. It is about choosing love over fear in your daily interactions, offering forgiveness instead of resentment, extending in compassion instead of judgment. It is about allowing the light that I have ignited within you to shine authentically, without apology, without false humility, but always with a profound awareness that its source is not yourself, but me. This power does not seek to control outcomes, for it trusts in my divine orchestration. It does not need to be recognized or applauded by the world, for its validation comes from within, from the joy of co-creating with me. It is a power that is often most potent in its gentleness, most effective in its quietude. A kind word spoken from a place of true compassion can have more power to heal than 1,000 eloquent but empty speeches. A simple act of service performed with selfless love can have a greater impact than a grand gesture motivated by ego. As you learn to live from this place of revealed power, you will find that your life takes on a new quality of grace, of ease, of joyful effectiveness. The old struggles, born of trying to operate from your own limited strength, begin to fall away. You discover that when you lean into my power, when you allow my wisdom to guide you, when you trust my love to sustain you, you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. This is not because you have become superhuman, but because you have become fully human. In sacred partnership with the divine, embrace this power, my child. It is my gift to you, a testament to my love, a fulfillment of my promise. Use it wisely, use it lovingly, use it humbly, always remembering its source. Let it flow through you to bless, to heal, to uplift, to inspire. For in your weakness, I have indeed revealed a power you never knew, a power that is destined to transform not only your own life, but also to be a radiant beacon of hope and healing in a world that so desperately needs it. This is your true inheritance, your divine endowment. Walk in it now with joy and with peace. My beloved child, as you begin to walk in the reality of this newly revealed power, wielding it not with the force of ego, but with the gentle authority of my spirit flowing through you. Let your heart now be anchored in the profound assurance of its enduring nature, the might that is blossoming within you, born from the sacred ground of your acknowledged weakness and nurtured by my unending grace, is not a fleeting gift, not a temporary surge of strength destined to wane with the changing tides of circumstance. No, my precious one. This is an enduring might, divinely bestowed, a power rooted in the eternal, unshakable foundation of my being, and it is yours to access, to live from, for all your days. The world often offers powers that are transient, conditional, dependent upon external factors, position, wealth, physical prowess, popular acclaim. These can be lost as quickly as they are gained, leaving behind a hollow echo of what once was. But the power I am revealing in you, the power that emerges when my strength is made perfect in your weakness, is of an entirely different order. Its source is not in the shifting sands of earthly circumstance, but in the immutable reality of my love, my presence, my infinite and inexhaustible resources. Therefore, It cannot be depleted by worldly challenges, nor can it be stolen by fear, nor can it be diminished by the passage of time. It is an eternal wellspring within your soul, constantly replenished by me. Understand this, my child, and let it bring a deep and abiding peace to your spirit. My strength will always be made perfect in your acknowledged need. This is not a one-time occurrence, a singular miracle, but an eternal principle, a divine dynamic that governs our sacred relationship. Whenever you find yourself feeling frail, whenever you confront a challenge that seems beyond your own capacities, whenever you are tempted to fall back into the old patterns of fear or inadequacy, that very moment of acknowledged weakness becomes a fresh invitation for my power to flow. It is a continuous opportunity for you to experience this divine paradox anew, to witness again and again how your emptiness can be filled with my fullness, your fragility with my fortitude. Do not fear that you must somehow maintain this newfound power through your own flawless efforts, or that it will vanish if you experience moments of human frailty again. That would be to misunderstand its very nature. This power is not contingent upon your perfection, but upon my faithfulness. It is revealed through your humanity, not in its absence. Your willingness to continually turn to me in your need, to offer your vulnerabilities as open channels rather than close-off fortresses, is what keeps the flow unimpeded. My strength is not a reward for your self-generated invincibility, right? But a loving response to your humble reliance. Think of a mighty river, its waters flowing ceaselessly from an inexhaustible mountain spring. The river does not struggle to maintain its flow. It simply remains open to its source. So it is with this enduring might within you. Your source is me, the infinite, eternal God. As long as you remain open to me, yielded to my spirit, willing to receive, my strength will flow through you, empowering you, sustaining you, enabling you to live a life of purpose, of love, of radiant resilience. This is not a burden for you to carry, but a gift for you to continuously receive and express. Your life, lived from this place of humble strength and divine empowerment, becomes a lasting testament to this sacred truth. You become a living witness to the beauty of my grace, a demonstration of the transformative power of my love. Others, seeing the quiet confidence with which you navigate challenges, the compassionate influence you wield, the authentic resilience you embody, will be drawn not to your own greatness, but to the greatness of the God who works so powerfully within you. Your story becomes an inspiration, a beacon of hope for those who are still caught in the ache of their own perceived frailty, showing them that weakness, when surrendered to me, is not a dead end, but a doorway to a strength they never knew. This enduring might will express itself in countless ways as you continue your journey. It will be the quiet courage that enables you to face adversity without crumbling. It will be the profound wisdom that guides your decisions and your words. It will be the deep compassion that allows you to connect with and uplift others. It will be the unshakable peace that anchors your soul amidst the storms of life. It will be the joyful creativity that flows through you as you express your unique gifts in service to my love. This is not a static power, but a dynamic, multifaceted expression of my own divine attributes, tailored to your unique being and your specific calling. Embrace this divine bestowment with a grateful heart. My child, It is your inheritance, your birthright as my beloved. Walk in the confidence that this power provides. Not a confidence in yourself alone, but a profound, unshakable confidence in me, who dwells within you and works through you. Let go of the old fears of inadequacy, the lingering shame of past weaknesses. They have served their purpose. They have brought you to this place of deeper reliance. This hallowed ground where my true power is revealed is. The world may continue to misunderstand, to value the superficial displays of egoic strength, but you will know a different truth. You will carry within you the quiet, irrefutable evidence of a power that is gentle yet indomitable, humble yet transformative, born of weakness yet infinitely strong. This is the enduring might, divinely bestowed, that makes your life a luminous testament to the boundless grace and empowering love of your God. Live from it, shine with it, and let your entire being sing a song of praise for the power you never knew, now revealed and forever yours in me. As we bring this sacred conversation to a gentle close, for now, my cherished one, let the profound assurance of this enduring, divinely bestowed, might settle deep within the core of your being. The journey from the ache of perceived frailty to the revelation of this unknown power has been a sacred pilgrimage, one that has deepened your intimacy with me and unveiled the beautiful paradox of my strength perfected in your weakness. You have learned that your vulnerabilities are not liabilities to be hidden, but hallowed ground for my grace. You have witnessed the unseen alchemy by which I transform your emptiness into receptivity, your fear into faith, your brokenness into a unique and radiant beauty. The first stirrings of this unknown strength have blossomed into a tangible power, a power of spiritual authority, compassionate influence, authentic resilience, and purposeful action. Remember always, my beloved, that this might is not your own to manufacture or maintain through anxious effort. It is my constant, loving gift, an eternal wellspring within you, ever available when you turn to me and acknowledge need. Let your life be a joyful testament to this truth. Rest in the peace of this empowerment. Walk in the quiet confidence of this divine bestowal, for in your weakness, my strength will forever find its most glorious expression, and you will continue to discover the ever unfolding power you never knew you possessed, a power that is my love, living and breathing through you